Welcome to our program on Kardec Radio.
Welcome, dear friends, to Friday Inspirational Talks at Kardec Radio with the Spiritist Society of Virginia. We're here with you in this single opportunity to immerse ourselves into new understanding of Spiritism and how we can change our lives. Kardec, in the Spirit's book, discloses to us in the Law of Progress, in its third part, a question that he made to the spirits: how can Spiritism help the progress of humanity on earth? And the answer is sometimes shocking: by destroying materialism. And people think that it's destroying money. No. Money, Emmanuel says, is from God. It's materialism within us. Materialism when we think that we're better than others. Materialism is not having a beautiful car, beautiful house. Materialism is inside of us. There are people who live in the communities, in slums, and they are more materialistic than many people who are very wealthy. Why? Because they believe in hierarchy, sometimes in the power of races, castes. And that's exactly why Spiritism is here, to read that materialism inside of us. Are you materialistic or not? Today we're going to talk about a topic that is deeply rooted in our sense of materialism. We're going to discuss this here with you, but before we go there, we have friends in our team who have prepared a message to help us bring ourselves to this moment, and then we'll do a prayer. After that, there is more. All right, so our friend Camila is here. Thank you, Camila.
Thank you, Vanessa. Good evening. Tonight, we will read a message called Regarding Social Standards from the book Conduta Espírita by the Spirit André Luiz, pictographed by Chico Xavier and Paul Vieira. Chapter 37. Abolish the dispensable use of mourning and condolence when in funerals, as well as participation in ritualistic ceremonies of any kind. The Spirit does not focus on externalities. In fraternal gatherings, avoid protocols or pretentious ceremonies. Trust demands an atmosphere of familiarity. Ban from spirit temples any ceremonies on behalf of the doctrine aimed at consecration of marriages or births. Spiritism cannot disregard the Christian simplicity that itself revives. Avoid regrettable parties like those that mark the passage of the carnival, including those that flaunt the excesses of gluttony, wastefulness, or spectacular outward displays. True joy does not depart from temperance. Study in advance and with enough discretion presentations of speakers or mediums, as well as tributes to friends and relatives, incarnate and discarnate, to not exalt vanity and pride or to hurt and humiliate the modesty of those whom we cherish. Flattery is poison in a verbal form. Proscribe the use of badges and emblems in the Spiritist movement. Excessive externality is the absence of Christian simplicity. Always dispense with social standards created or maintained by conventions or traditions that stagnate progress. Complexity always delays the clock of evolution. Let us reflect on Jesus' message. The Sabbath was made for men, not men for the Sabbath.
Thank you, Camila, for this so deep, important message. A lot of food for thought already. So now we invite everyone to join us in a prayer. Let us pray together. Dear God, in the sound of the rain, we feel your presence. We feel your presence in the sound of life, in the feeling of our heartbeat, even the sound of our breathing. As we inhale and exhale life, how can we doubt your presence or put you aside? How childish of us, so immature and ungrateful that we have not yet felt the greatness of yours. May the session we are opening now bring wonderful feelings to everyone. Renewed hope, consolation, relief, nourishment, remedies. We think of those who have their names in the book of prayer at the Spirit Society of Virginia, Kardec Radio. May everyone receive what they are looking for that is best for them. But we pray especially tonight for those who have their loved ones in the hospitals or recovering at home or in nursing homes, shelters, rehab clinics, prisons, refugee camps. We pray for caregivers around the world. And we pray especially for peace. Peace in our hearts. Peace on earth. Glory to you, dear God. And peace on earth as we develop our goodwill towards everyone. And so be it. All right. Luciana is here with us, right, Lu? And you're going to bring to us the Spirit's Book moment because we need to study one question of the Spirit's Book before we go to our main theme, right, Lu?
Right. And as we already start with one message bringing so much teaching to us, we have the spiritual book bringing us even more knowledge and information to help us and guide us throughout this incarnation. So as we study together every question of the Spirit's book, we can be richer and feel that we are preparing ourselves to go to this roadmap that is our life, this incarnation that we have. And today we'll be studying the chapter, the question 933, in which Kardec come and ask the spirits if people are usually the artisans of their material suffering, are they also the artisan of their mental suffering? And we can really start thinking about this question, right? Because we create so many things, and then the good spirits come and says, even more so because there is material suffering are sometimes independent of their will. While wonder and pride, frustrating ambition, avaricious and anxieties, envy, jealousy, in short, all the passions compromise the torment of the soul. So every vice, every jealousy, everything that we have is something that disturb and make us out of this alignment of the divinity in us. So we, Kardec come and ask, and the good spirits come and tell us that yes, we are the ones that can be causing other things. And this question is long, but we'll bring some part of the answers because the good spirits want us to succeed in this reincarnation. So they bring detailed information, and that is one of the reasons that is very important for us to take the time that we will be spending watching TV or wasting the time, which is not our time, is the time of God that God gave us to come and read those books that can help us to progress in life. So the good spirits come and continue telling us about the vices, the envy, and he says, wherever envy and jealousies exist, there can be no calm, no repose. So we can see already in our society that everybody is always in this state of mind, right? There's nobody calm anymore. So the spirits are telling us envy and jealousy, happy are they who do not those don't have those feelings. Because when we do, we don't feel calm and we cannot rest. Not even when we are sleeping, because the mind is working, right? Because the spirit doesn't rest. And if the spirit never rests, when we go to sleep, the spirit's freer and is continue to living the effect of the torments that we created through the jealousies, through the envy, through all this vice that we create. And then the spirits continue telling us, right, that some people create intentional punishment for ours for themselves. So as we go through life and as we continue to progress, if we not align ourselves to the divinity, to the divining us with God, we are creating punishments to ourselves, right? We can see people that wants everything their way. It needs to be perfect. And there is a law into this that we are not being humble in our lives. So when we are not humble, we have this pride, we have this envy, we are jealous to other. And the scriptures in this answer is bringing us all the highlights for us to continue and address the life that we are having right now. So take some time and read. And he's saying people sometimes create punishment for themselves. And let us continue what the spirits continue telling us. Main expression that we use says that, right? We're putting off with pride, dying of envy, bursting with jealousy or spite. Those are some of expression that we use in our daily base. And those are things that we need to start to thinking about and address. So we need to pay attention in our thoughts, in our feeling, so we can know when we're feeling this envy, this jealousy. We need to start address to who we are deeply in the soul so we can change and transform. So such pictures states of the truth very well. Sometimes jealousy does not have any specific object. They're person whose nature makes them jealousy of anyone who is successful. So these feelings sometimes come regardless if we wanted to achieve that goal, have the same goal of other people. That's why it is important for us to analyze why these feelings are coming into our hearts, because sometimes it's just for no reason. We don't even want it to get there. So the good spirits are wisely telling us, pay attention, see what are you thinking, see what are your thoughts, if there are results of the envy. So everything that sins above them is common horizon and offending, as mentioning. So it doesn't matter if we want to be there, but some people feel this jealousy, feel this pride, feel that they want regardless. And they continue. People are usually unhappy because their purpose they attach to the things of the world. So we're talking about of materialism, to being attached to things. Vanessa just mentioned, right? Money is God's creation, but we need to see if we are this materialistic person that cannot feel happiness, cannot feel the joy of living, because we're being receiving blessing daily. So we need to see, how are we feeling today? Are we being unhappy? And we have everything. We have a house, we have a place to live, we have some food, we have work. And even if we don't have, we have other things that God is providing to us. So let us focus and see, right? Why we are having this feeling. So to be happy, we need to be happy, because the happiness that we have is something that we are creating through our vice and unhappy thoughts that we have and connections that we made in the past. Let us focus and thinking on this. So those who only find happiness by satisfying their pride and pure material appetites are unhappy when they cannot satisfy them. That's what we see in society. A lot of people have so much but is still not happy. Whereas those who are frugal feel happy with what for others would comprise misfortune. So be humble, receiving all that we have around us, having this opportunity, and feeling that the little that we have, it's is something very good. It's something that we should be happy for have. And Vanessa mentioned to us in the past a phrase from Leon Denis that is very fitting in this frugality, and I want to mention to you. The phrase was, to have few needs is likewise a form of wealth. So if we have fewer needs, we are wealthy. So this fits perfectly here, because we want to not have the need of having a lot of material things, having a lot of things in life, so we can be freer and happier. And the good spirits finalize telling us, we are referring here to civilized people, because primitives had needs that are much more limited, and thus they do not have the same reason for envy and anxiety. Their way of looking at things is much different. In the civilized state, people think about and analyze their unhappiness, and hence they are more affected by it. On the other hand, they can also think about and analyze the means of consolation in the Christian sentiments that gives them the hope of a better future, and in Spiritism, which gives them the certainty of the future. So with Spiritism, with this Christianity in us, we are sure of the continuum of time, of new lives, new reincarnation, new future, and we need to work and address those questions and change, right? Be responsible in what we are creating. So this is what the Spirit's book has for us today. But go and read all these questions and answers that Kardec bring to us and help us to continue progressing in this reincarnation.
Thank you, Luciana. And this is a great introduction for us on the topic of obsession, spiritual obsessions. When we talk about obsessions, what are we talking about? We're talking about connections. Connections. These are Emmanuel's words, not mine. I'll give you a quick reference. If you want a summary, just go to this book, Thought and Life, chapter 27, Obsession. He says it's about connection. Obsession is an authentic phenomenon of interaction. Obsession. What is obsession? Okay, so I'll show a few slides. We will, not all, few, just to illustrate, so we have common ground. We know what we're talking about. We know there's a perfume named obsession. That's not it. When we talk about chocolate obsession, that's not it either. We're talking about spiritual obsession. In Spiritism, it was first coined, the term obsession, by Kardec in the Medium's book in chapter 23. Obsession is this persistent negative influence that one spirit exerts over another. It could be an incarnate to an incarnate. It could be a discarnate spirit, an entity, to an incarnate. It could be between discarnates or amongst discarnates. It could be even from an incarnate to a discarnate. When a loved one discarnates and we keep either being angry, or when we are feeling that we're missing so much that it hurts and we're rebellious, we are creating problems for that discarnate as well. We'll talk more about it as we share a few slides, just a few, to illustrate a little bit. Okay, hold on. Oops. Hold on. All right, so here's just a first slide to show to us spiritual obsession. This is from a book. I'm not sure if it's translated yet. It talks about obsession. It's a great summary by a discarnated spiritist author that used to be a good friend, still is, whatever he is, Richard Simonetti. And it shows to us the daily battle, right? We hear good things, good spirits come, and we hear also the counsel of voices that are not good. So Kardec in the Spirit's book, question 459, actually spiritual intervention is a whole chapter in the second part of the Spirit's book, chapter 8. They talk about, the spirits say, that the spirits, they probe our thoughts and they influence us more than we imagine. More than we imagine. Do spirits influence our thoughts and actions? And the answer is, to a greater extent than you suppose. So if you think spirits can influence you this much, the good spirits are saying to Kardec, it's even more than that. I see people who are true puppets of bad spirits. True puppets. How do I know? Constantly irritated, constantly intolerant. The good spirits easily, they're like easy puppets. Go there and create an issue. Because irritation, frictions, desperation, resentment, grudges are pathologies of the soul that create mental lesions. And says Emmanuel in the book Laws of Love that we're studying at 11 p.m., he says that those mental lesions lead us to even to death and madness, mental illnesses. It's very important for us to note that in the Spiritist literature, what is very allowed nowadays, these bursts of anger we see in social media, bursts of wrath, those are signs that that mind is not doing well. Who are with us? Who are the spirits, the people who are with us? Are we receiving good or bad influences? How do we know if what we are thinking and feeling is being influenced by good or bad spirits? Let me go back just as a teaser. When Kardec talks about spirits, he didn't say bad spirits only, good spirits. The good spirits also influence us to a great extent. As Joana de Angelis says, through Divaldo Franco, we need to pray every day, thanking for the things that did not happen. Many good spirits protected us from things that were about to happen and we didn't even notice. Just like a baby that is about to fall and the parents catch the baby. The baby didn't even notice. That happens to us daily, more than we imagine. Are we grateful? No. We only see the shortcomings, the difficulties, the challenges. In the book, just so we see how these good spirits are really good in our lives, we want to talk to you about the book Sex and Destiny. In the case of Marita, Marita was not a religious person. She was undergoing issues in her life, like many young adults nowadays, usually. Problems in the relationships, romantic relationships, family relationships. And André Luiz, through Chico Xavier, shows to us that on the behind the scenes, there are loving spirits that are together with him, willing to help her, but she doesn't perceive them. They are there, they give her passes when she's crying. They help her in so many scenarios. She has no idea whatsoever. You and I are being asked tonight to think about all the good spirits who are influencing us at a greater extent than we imagine. And the minimum we can do is to be grateful, but to be easygoing. Huh? Let's be easy to the good counsels. And when we go back, we get to know, okay, that good spirits give only good advice. only. No good spirit is going to come to us and say, don't help that person because they are bad people. Never. Oh, don't talk to that person because, they don't deserve you. No good spirit's going to say that. Good spirits are always going to say, yes, tolerate, be patient, help, get out of the couch and go help that person. Bad spirits are always going to inflate our ego, as Luciana was showing to us in the Spirit's book, and inducing us to frictions, resentment. But the plug is within. No bad spirit is going to induce us to those scenarios if we don't have those tendencies. We cannot blame them. Like people say, oh, I drank too much because bad spirits made me drink. But if you were not a good drinker, they wouldn't make you drink. Oh, I had sex with that person because the good spirits, I don't know where my mind was. Well, if you weren't sexually imbalanced, you wouldn't. Oh, I talked bad about that person. If we weren't gossipers and slanderers, we wouldn't. Because good spirits only push the buttons we have within. That's the power we have within ourselves. As much as the good spirits will only give us assignments that we're capable to do. When a good spirit comes and says, can you help at that shelter? And we think, oh, but not today, right? Maybe next week, next month. Maybe I should talk to the spiritist group. No, he's saying you. And many people nowadays during the pandemic are waiting for spiritist centers to do beneficence, charity, volunteer work. No, don't wait for the spiritist centers because it's our personal duty to help. So you and I can call the shelters, other organizations that help and see how we can help without waiting for people to do so. Because if we spend the whole day, every day of the week, only thinking about what is good for us, that's called selfishness. What kind of spirits are going to be with us? I know the good spirits are always going to be with us, but they won't have much access because we're always focused on our selfish goals. So, do spirits ever take part in our occupations and pleasures daily? Let's say you are in your bedroom, in the middle of the night, browsing through the internet. Do you think spirits will come up and surf the internet with you? Go through your social media with you? Yes or no? Question 567 of the Spirits Book by Kardec. The less advanced spirits will, they will. They excite and moderate your desires and enthusiasm. In this way, they push you into different life experiences. I hear many people, young people, and sometimes even older, who spend the whole night playing video games, going through their social media. What kind of spirits are going to be there with us? Good spirits? No, bad spirits. And that's where we start seeing things we shouldn't be seeing, like porn. That's when we start having conversations that are of inferior order with people that are not supposed to happen. That's when we started creating posts or even sharing things that we shouldn't be sharing. We become co-responsible. We need to seek the good and share the good and only the good. But Vanessa, what about the news about bad people? Have we ever heard of Jesus announcing what the Caesars were doing? No. Talking about the publicans that were stealing people's monies, for example? No. Or he talked about the hypocrisy of the Pharisees, but not in the way that we're saying, like the Mount, criticizing, pointing fingers. So why are we going to use our social media to do this if our guiding model has never done it? But we can't just do nothing. Some people say, I don't have social media. Mentor Joseph taught us throughout the years how to enter social media and manage it positively. It's emotional management. We need to learn how to see things, not be affected, how to unfollow people or even block people that are pernicious to our network. It's valid, but we need to share the good. The good spirits, they take part in our occupations. When we're eating, Andre Luis shows to us. You're eating? Who is eating with us? Depends. Do you pray? You don't pray? All right. So here's the true account. Chico Xavier was visiting a family who needed help. He was hungry, but he needed to help. No time to eat. He passed by the kitchen, saw a bunch of bananas on the table. He was there helping. When he left, he was about to step out. He saw two spirits entering and eating some of the bananas. And he was shocked. He asked the menu, what is this? They are eating the bananas? Yes, in houses where people don't usually pray, they have no security system, and even our food is being, let's say, the fluids of the banana, the spiritual, the vitality is being taken away, like vampire spirits. Andre Luis shows to us in several books, especially the Between Heaven and Earth, the book, the case of the people who are eating and the spirits who are eating together. People are now, oh, I want to go to restaurants. Be careful. What kind of spirits do you think are in restaurants? Superior spirits? It depends. Majority of spirits are there. They are there to drink with people. They are there to indulge in the eating of many people and suck their energies. We have to be careful. We need to pay attention to our conversations with people. We're never alone. The less advanced spirits, they really want to use what we're doing because they don't know better. What do these bad spirits do? They don't have bills to pay. They don't have children to take care of. They don't have schools to go or work to do. What do? Nothing. What do? Wander around, be with us, and mingle with us. No social distancing. And they are the ones creating commotion in our lives as well. But we open the door. Now, we need to ask ourselves, who is in our spiritual network? Because if Emmanuel is saying that obsession is a phenomenon of interaction, who have we been interacting with? It depends. So we'll stop here a moment to ask ourselves, who is in our network? Who is? So let's think. You like soccer? Spiritual like soccer. Is this good or bad, Vanessa? I don't know. There are spirits who like soccer and they may be good spirits. I don't know. It depends. What else do you do? You only think about material things. You only think about the bills, your career, your material goals, your retirement. Well, what kind of spirits? Just go to the books by Andre Luis. Go to the book Sex and Destiny again. The very first chapters. We're going to see Claudio. He enters his home from work. He was not thinking about anything, says Andre Luis. But inside of his house, there is a butler. What do I mean? Is he rich? No. Spiritually, Depending on what we do in our house, the ones that coordinate, that administer, that manage our house will be either our protector spirits or our obsessors, our friendly spirits in our pleasure. In Claudio's case, no religion, no prayer, no God, no nothing, just a material life like many people on earth. Who is opening the door to him? Moreira. Moreira is a spirit who comes and says, Claudio, I want to drink. Claudio has no awareness, but he feels the thirst in his throat, and he feels like gravitating to his bar. When I enter homes and I see a bar, of course, there are spirits there waiting to drink. You are not alone. For sure. Vanessa, should I get rid of a bar? I did. I don't have it. Why? Why would I have it? It doesn't serve a purpose. When you go to the doctor, the first thing they ask, do you drink? Do you smoke? It's a matter of health. But our society is so paradoxical that we know it's a drug, but it's legal. It's legal drug. People can drink. And they think, oh, well, it doesn't do anything. It does. Science already proves to us that alcoholic behavior leads us to great tragedies. And now during the pandemic, it has escalated. People don't have control of their emotions, no religion, no spirituality. Drinking is just next door. But we're not alone. And then we have rehab clinics that are full. And houses that are undergoing great issues. So when we ask who is in our network, we need to know who are we interacting with. But Vanessa, I pray. I do the gospel. Is that enough? No. In another book, Laws of Love, we have the very question to Emmanuel. What do we need to do? We need to do the good. If we want to be protected, we need to do the good. But not this good like, oh, I love my hug, my child, and I cook for my husband cooks for me. No. It's to do the good. That counts. But it's to do the good every day. Every day. You are a physician. The patient that comes to you is not another patient. The patient. A brother and sister of yours, part of your family. Are you giving your best? When I see people who have COVID, they go to urgent cares and they say, oh, there's nothing else we can do. Oh, really? Your mom is here. Would you tell, oh, mom, I'm sorry, there's nothing else I can do? No. To the mom, they would say, wait, I'm going to call another doctor. I'm going to find something else. But to somebody else, I'm sorry. Until their parents are in the same scenario with somebody else. Sometimes it's the teachers to the students because we don't treat them with the loving kindness that we treat our family members. And then we want happiness. What is our connection? But when we open our hearts to wonderful interactions, obsessions disappear. Kardec talks about this, but then Emmanuel goes hand in hand. And in the book, Laws of Love, we're going to come to this chapter. But just to relate to you right now, the information. Somebody asked Emmanuel, is there a relationship between obsession and mental thoughts and mental currents? And he says, thought is the foundation of everything. So if somebody says, oh, I feel there's a spirit persecuting me, this spirit, what am I thinking that is opening those doors? In the book Obsession by Manuel Filomeno de Miranda through Divaldo Franco, which is a book that if you can possibly buy at Amazon, if you don't find it, at Kardec Radio, at our SoundCloud playlist, the podcasts. There's the whole book recorded by Carrie and another friend. The whole book. You can listen to the audiobook. There's a teenager. The book just says that on her 15th birthday, the party, she has a psychotic crisis and enters the psychiatric ward. And we ask, why? The book is going to disclose to us that that 15-year-old is not an angel. In a previous life, and in this life, she cultivates bad thoughts, bad feelings. So when we see our children, we need to teach them from the get-go. Think the good, feel the good, seek the good always, and you're always going to succeed. Not in material life, inside of you. Because if I hold grudges, resentment, I will open doors to spirits who are bad. Now, there is a question in this book, Laws of Love, that is so deeply intriguing in the answer. Do we have spirits who don't like us from previous lives? Enemies of previous lives? Do you think you have enemies in previous lives? And the answer by Emmanuel is just one line. Undoubtedly, we all still carry, from the past to the present, great load of enemies, of adversaries. And you're like, oh my gosh, Vanessa, now I'm in trouble. Well, it's good to know. Because sometimes we think that by praying, the spirits are going to go away. No, they won't. Why? Because there are many people who pray before they kill somebody. The bad spirits don't go away. In our history, we had the Crusades, the Inquisition, people who supposedly were Christians. They said they prayed. Did they? What are they cultivating? Maybe it was us. What about the enemies? Look at the history of humankind. Who is in the making of the history of humankind? We were. When we read the book On the Way to the Light by Emmanuel through Chico Xavier, it's the Spiritist view on humanity's history. Who was there? We were. Who created those things? We did. And now we think just by going to the Spiritist Center, giving one quote, one pound of pasta to a food bank, we're going to be even. We see mediumistic meetings, the spirits coming, very upset. So how do we protect ourselves? How do we change it? Because at the end of the day, these spirits are connected to us because of previous life's history. Think about yourself, the mental body, and this is why we're recommending to read this book, chapter 27. He says to us, the process is the following, he says. One mind addresses another, it makes itself felt and understood, it creates images and exchanges words or action. So you and I have in our spiritual body registered everything we've done and said in previous lives. Everything. These spirits, they have as well, so they connect with us like magnet. If we have not archived those softwares, in the sense of like, we no longer go there to those conditionings and mistakes, they're still plugged in. And they're here like, I can't believe, Vanessa, you're still the same person. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. How should I behave when I feel this way? That somebody is demanding a change, a transformation. One day, Emmanuel explained to Chico. He said, Chico, before an obsessor or a spirit that is evil, we need to humble ourselves. And especially before obsessors. Because if our obsessors are still around us, it's because they are imprisoned. They are imprisoned by what we've done to them. It's so sad. We hurt them so deeply that they're still stuck with us. Sometimes, these obsessors, says Emmanuel in the book Laws of Love, these obsessors are in our family circle, reincarnated as relatives, sometimes our children, sometimes our parents, sometimes our spouses, sometimes our siblings. And sometimes they are like tranquil people who are demanding from us a change, and we don't change. We don't want to love them. Sometimes it's that child that requires from us more love. And instead of love, what do? We call therapists, educators, put them in programs saying, fix this person. And we have the remedy. No, don't send them to 10,000 programs like I see many parents doing, showing away their children in these relentless after-hour programs. Now summer is coming in the United States. Summer camps are overcrowded because parents are like, please take my children away. But Vanessa, don't we need a break? Yeah, but you don't need to send your child to summer camps all day long or everywhere, anywhere, elsewhere, just for you to have a break. That's called lack of love. Because when we love, we don't want that person away. But what about their independence? When you want their independence, we balance. We're around. We're patient. We're loving. We may be tired, but we're renewed in the contact with them. See? We can recognize, and we must recognize and be sincere to ourselves. Who is demanding my change, and why, and what do I need to change? These spiritual obsessors come and they say, you don't change. Here you go again. You're so proud of yourself, right? I say, I'm sorry. Yes, I am. I am going to change. But what about you? You don't deserve to be stuck to me. I'm going to pray for you. Don't pray for me. No, I will. Because I'm going to pray for forgiveness for what I've done to you. I'm going to pray that you are free from me because I didn't help you. You're traumatized. That's the discarnate spirit. And then we have the helping spiritist centers, these obsession meetings. We have spiritual passes. But when our adversaries are in the family, only love heals. Only love. And love requires sacrifice. Yes, we have work to do, bills to pay, but we need to stop everything to bring that person closer to us and say, I love you. I want to spend time with you. So when we talk about obsession, we are talking about the fact that we're stuck in scenarios of the past in which we were hurt. Sometimes it happened in this life. Somebody, without noticing, impulsively, in thoughtlessness, made a mistake with us, said things that were hurtful. But Jesus said at the cross, we don't know better. That's why we do things. As he said to Peter in the book Good News, we're more fragile than good. But I can't forgive Vanessa. Oh, well. The parable of the merciless servant, right? He had debts the Lord forgave. He was released, but he saw somebody who owed him and he said, come here, you have to pay. The guards saw, brought him back, and he was imprisoned. Our conscience will ring an alarm saying, you don't want to forgive? How are you going to be forgiven? Who can cast a stone? So making efforts to forgive, to cleanse the heart from grudges and resentment is medicine. If you go to YouTube, you will find countless visualizations to help us forgive. Listen, tell your subconscious, let us tell our subconscious, I am capable of forgiving. I want to be forgiven, the Lord's Prayer. I'm going to put a short pause. We'll tell you more, just to address questions our dear Soul Souza is asking. How can we help a loved one who is under obsession and does not want help? Only prayers are not enough. What else should we do? Wonderful question. How can we help this person? When we are in contact with that person, we need to help by praying and encouraging the person to positive thinking. Positive thinking. Because whomever practices positive thinking will cut the ties of obsession. Because it is in this tug of war, as Emmanuel says, it's an inner tug of war. It's as if we are pulling and push with other minds. But when I do positive thinking, I stop that. So positive thinking, seeking the good. So give this person cards of affirmations. Enroll the person in courses of positive thinking. There are countless wonderful scientists from greatest of universities in the US have free courses on the internet teaching us about positive thinking. Even Dr. Martin Solomon, Dr. Sonia Leiber-Miski, who taught here at Kardec Radio years ago about happiness. They have courses after courses on positive thinking. We need to learn. When you give these people a positive thinking course, when they have instruments to do so, they are going to get out of it. When I see people, true account, 2 years ago, we were in a therapeutic excursion from our group at the SSVA into a psychiatric hospital, visiting a friend who needed help. While we were waiting, we were near a family group who was talking to a patient. So it was the daughter who was sick in the psychiatric ward, the mother, and a brother. They were talking. And as we were waiting, it was inevitable. It was so close we could overhear it. And in that conversation, We heard the mother saying to the daughter who was a teenager, forgive that coach of yours. He didn't know any better. But she was furious. No wonder she was mentally ill. She couldn't forgive. Lack of forgiveness creates obsession, wrongdoings, and guilt. Accumulating guilt opens doors to obsessions. In the book, Sex and Destiny, we will see the case of Marina now, who is dating two guys at the same time. Father and son, they don't know of each other. Her sister is very upset with her because she stole her fiancé. The spirit who is close to her sister takes her pains and avenges her without her noticing, goes there, brings a group of friends because he is an inferior spirit. I told you, they don't have bills to pay, children to care for, school to go, or work to do. Nothing. All they do is bother people, create problems. And there are lots of them around the world. And he brought his friends and said, we're going to be whispering in this Marina's ears how much of a bad person she is, cursing her and telling her she was already feeling guilty. And they came to her and said, you're a bad person. Look at you. You amount to nothing. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Until she entered this psychotic state, started beating herself up, and she was admitted at a psychiatric hospital. Took a lot of work from the good spirits to release her. Read the book. She was feeling guilty because she was dating two people at the same time. So on the behind the scenes of mental illnesses, there's a guilty mind. And there are spirits who are partaking. If we want health, we need positive thinking, good works. If you can, your loved one, bring your loved one to help others. In this way, they will find a new thing to dedicate themselves to, right? And John the Rose is saying, yes, do the intelligent sleep. Yes, you're right, John, thank you. Every night when we go to sleep, it's therapy for us. Ask the good spirits to take us to the clinics where we can be helped in this tug of wars. And we also have here, let's see, Daniel. Thank you, Daniel. Is there good obsession which are bad for the obsessed, for instance, a discarnate incarnated mother for her child? There is what we call attachment, right? Yes, there is. And is it bad? Yes. Two-way road, Daniel. Those people, remember when Luciana was reading the question in the Spirit book about jealousy, envy, like jealous. I want that person only for me. How many mothers I know, they don't want their children to be married to anybody else because nobody's good enough for them. They're not helping. In the book, Reincarnation in Life by Amalia Domingo Soler, which you can only find to date in Spanish, Hechos que Prueban, or in Portuguese, Reencarnação e Vida. But at Kardec Radio, you can find 15 cases of previous lives by Amalia Domingo Soler. Here's this case of a mother who is the true obsessor in her son's life. She doesn't allow her son to marry whom he wants. Why? See the case. In a previous life, this mother of today was an enemy of both the couple she didn't want to be married, including her son. In the name of I want what's best for him, a good wife of good socioeconomic status. No, you don't love your son. Because if you do, you would allow your son to marry whomever he loves. So, in the name of love, which is not love, of protection, we are actually obsessing somebody. That is a case. I just summarized it. So Souza is asking, even when we change and try to do better every day, the spirits we left behind can still be with us and do have the power to hurt us? Powerful question. So, actually, yes, they can. 2 points. True account. Divaldo Franco. He was only 27, became a spiritist. Soon after, in his 30s, he decides to open an orphanage in Brazil. 60 some years ago, I think 67 years ago. He's still living, 94 years old, forgot. And when he opened the orphanage, he's helping. There is a point he's helping more than 600 children. For 30 years, a spirit named Iron Mask is constantly bombarding him with bad thoughts and creating scenarios of bad things through other people. But one day, in a very cold night, when the orphanage was at full capacity, they had no resources to adopt anybody else. Finally, somebody knocks at the door with a baby and says, "Can you help? My daughter, I cannot help her." Divaldo says, "Yes, we will help." He looked at her. She was not a beautiful baby. She had deformities because she was abandoned and ants ate her lips. We're talking about true poverty. At that moment, Divaldo Franco sees the spirit, Iron Mask, was because he's a medium, he usually sees the spirits. And Iron Mask appeared to him and challenged Divaldo. Are you going to love this child? Do you love this child? Do you love this child? Divaldo was very sincere. He said, I don't yet love her, but I will. And he said it with sincerity. And Sosos is reminding us, this is in the book by Sueli Calda Schubert, who recently discarnated. A big hug to her where she is, but also in the movie that was made about Divaldo Franco. Do you love her? I said, no, not yet, but I will. He said it with sincerity after 30 years of such works. At that moment, it's moving, right? The Iron Mask looks at him and said, yes, you changed. You are a new man. I believe you. And now I'll give you a break. Because the spirit of this child used to be my mom in my previous life. If you're going to help her, I will no longer harass you. There you go. But then, what do we do in our daily lives? Who knows if the students we have in front of us are related to our obsessors. Who knows if the clients to whom we are connected are connected to our obsessors? If we don't have love, if we don't want to help them and are charitable, how are we going to overcome this tug of war? So Emmanuel, in the book Laws of Life, when somebody asks this very question, how can we put a stop with those of the past? How can we transform them? And the answer is, I have the answer here in front of me. When we transform ourselves. Going to these obsession meetings is not going to do the deal. We need to change ourselves. And at the very end, he says, only when we do the good. Only when we do the good, we will be able to solve the problems of obsession. It's question 20. What is the solution, the simplest solution to the problem of obsession? When we dedicate ourselves to building the good, to building the general good, Emmanuel says. The general good is not the good to your loved ones. The general good. We need to stop being selfish and only helping those who are in our immediate circle. He says, at each hour of each day, we walk amongst noble spirits or imbalanced spirits. It's a matter of frequency, attunement. So he's going to say to us, if we want to be with good spirits, we need to do the good. When we are with the good spirits, inevitably, this is going to change. Friends, we're going to stop here and bring other friends here with us, who are here with us, so we can together wrap up this session with a comment or a question that you may have. Paloma, would you like to share a thought, please?
Yes, Vanessa, this talk is so important because we tend to want to point fingers to things in our lives that is caused by others, and the obsessors being one of them. You know, it's the obsessors; they are doing this to me, and with this talk, we're saying actually we are attracting it because our thought patterns are causing it. So it brings to us this awareness that we need to stop, analyze our thoughts, and change them. We are all in the same boat. We all have them. And the difference now is that we know of it. So we are empowered to make changes in our lives, which what you just said. We can do it and we need to do it. And then the next step is when we change ourselves, we change things around us and we do the good.
Thank you, Paloma. And bringing that to all of us, we can't forget the following. We have only one choice: to walk towards the truth. And the truth is love. When we postpone love, nowadays there are people so skillful. I'm so busy. Can you take care of my child? Because I don't want to love. We are becoming alienated because when we distance ourselves from the truth, we're creating mental illnesses. For example, you get pregnant. Oh, but not now. Oh, I can't have this baby now. Oh, no. Commit abortion. But it's my body. But that body inside of yours is not your body. It's another heart that beats, not yours. I know we've been there, done that in previous lives. No pointing fingers. But we need to clarify. When we do that, we will walk towards mental illnesses, imbalances, because we don't want to love. How can we dare to kill a life? We're insane. Suicide. Obsessions that lead to suicide. Do they exist? Yes. But why do we go towards that line? Because the spirits led us? No. Where is God in our lives? God is far away. For many of us, God is the genie in the bottle. God, I need this. Please help me. No, God is not genie in the bottle. God is not a servant in the house next door. God is the center of our lives. God, what do you want me to do? How am I going to commit suicide if God is the center of my life? Impossible. I only commit suicide or think of suicide when God is not in my life. So we need to teach our children every day. You know, when they fall, we say, oh, mommy is here. No, God is here with us. And I know for them, we are more present. It's easier because it's concrete. I remember talking to Virginia. It was so adorable. He said, yeah, but I don't see God. I know he exists. But mom, you're more important. I say, it's okay because God gave me to you, you to me. It's God's presence in us. Right, Virginia? You want to say something since you're here?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And once my mommy told me, do you love God? I said, I don't know. Because I don't see him, and I don't
know much about him, you said?
Don't know much about him. It's very complex, and it's very interesting, but hard to understand. So, but also I don't see him, so I usually love when I see something.
Yeah, and it's okay. God gave mom and dad to you and you to us, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's God's love. When we love one another, we're loving him, right? You feel it. We feel God, right?
I guess.
Yes. And that's the joy.
And then an example of we having to love God because he protects us from things that's extremely dangerous. Once I was outside with a dog.
Your dog, Lupe.
My dog. And I was just going to get my shoe, which I had left outside and forgotten to bring in because I had to go outside and grab it and come back with it. And then I picked up my shoe. Lupe already played with it a lot and I had no idea. And she thought it was hers. But I said, it's my shoe. I told her.
She didn't agree.
She didn't agree. I grabbed the shoe, and there's this thing in her mouth that she loves to eat in the backyard. It's in the backyard. And, well, I grabbed it, put it out of the fence, and, well, went with my shoe. I was almost getting there when, guess what? She jumped all over me and bit me and dragged me with my arm, and I got all scratched. And I told God, God, please help me for me to survive this dog. And it eventually worked.
How did it work?
She stopped jumping
when she water.
She drank water. I ran into the house. I stormed in. I was out of breath. I grabbed a bottle of water, and ran up to this room
Where
and
mommy was.
where mommy and daddy was, and they helped me drink the water.
So that's your proof that God heard
Yes.
you, protect you.
Yeah.
Right?
Because it could have been much worse. She could have been forced to be at a shelter.
You're adorable.
Yep, that's true.
Thank you for the story, Virginia. So that's the thing we're talking about. And talking about, God being center stage. Today in our children's activity, the story was about somebody who loved God so much that he only
Chico
loved
Xavier.
Chico Xavier. Let's see. Virginia, Carol, and Daisy are here with us, Miss Daisy and Miss
Yep.
Carol. And they want to tell a little bit more to the people who haven't watched it. So let us see, right, Carol and Daisy?
Right. We had the honor of talking about Chico Xavier to all the children, explaining that he is a very good friend of Master Jesus, like all of us, but he was able to dedicate his whole life to love by helping others, like you said, Vanessa, reaching out to others outside of his immediate family circle, and by psychographing more than 500 books, bringing us nourishment for the soul, taking care of our eternal spirits, helping us to heal. Right, Miss Daisy?
Yep.
That's right, Miss Carol. And then, as we talk about Chico Xavier, we cannot talk about Chico Xavier without talking about love, as we're discussing love here too with the adults. And we watched this cute video called "A Little Spot of Love." It's from a book by Diane Alber, and we recommend all the parents to watch it and the adults as well. And they talk about how we can grow. We all have this little spot of love, and we can grow and make it bigger and bigger. And we talk about 7 different ways we can do it, right, Vivi? And then we did an activity that we can practice how we can grow as spots of love, right?
That's the hard work.
Yes.
So my drawing was this.
It's you and Loopy?
It's me and my dog. And it says, I can grow my love spot by
Saying,
saying I love you.
Oh,
And Loopy says, yep.
There you go. So the solution to obsession is love. If we love, so let's grow the spot of love inside of our lives, right, friends? So we want to thank everyone who is here with us, but before we go, we want to wrap up the highest tone, communicating with God, the source of love. Let us then follow Paloma, who will lead us into this deep connection with God as we all together unite in thoughts and feelings.
Let us close our eyes, dear friends, feeling the presence of God and God's love. Let us breathe in and breathe out. God gave us air. God gave us our lives, our bodies, our families. Let us bless our current connections, our relationships. Let us cherish them. Dear Mother, Father God, we thank you for bringing to us tonight such important awareness about obsession. But most of all, for leading us to what is mostly important in our lives, love. We know that we are immersed in your love. And in turn, we need to do our part and demonstrate it. We pray, dear God, that we are able to expand this love and involve everyone around us in it. Let us visualize ourselves in our hearts, growing in our chest, our hearts emanating energies that embraces and envelops people in our families, but not only. Let us visualize colleagues that maybe we have some issues. Let us visualize family members that we have difficulties. Let us visualize even enemies. Let us visualize our obsessors. And as we emanate love, we ask for forgiveness. God forgives us. We make mistakes. We need to forgive others. Let us pray that we have the courage to face errors that we committed in the past, letting go of those, and now allowing just love to surround us. Let us especially dedicate this to children, to any children that we might be in contact with. Let us send them this motherly love. Let us visualize Master Jesus and Mother Mary as they are good examples of how to demonstrate love. Let us visualize children in shelters, children that are in hospitals, refugee camps, children that are in situation of extreme poverty. We emanate so much love to them. Dear God, we feel very blessed for this opportunity, truly. We hope that we are good listeners, good students, and that we are able to apply ourselves after tonight. We want to thank you for sending the spirit mentors and doctors and nurses that led this treatment. We want to thank you for Spiritism, for bringing such awareness. We want to thank you for the whole team of Kardec Radio and Spiritist Society of Virginia in both realms. And with that, dear God, we ask for your permission and under your protection to close the meeting of tonight, and so be it.
It's almost like Christmas feeling. Joy to the world. We feel the joy, the hope that positive thinking and doing the good towards everyone, the general good, is always the solution to harmony. Friends, if you still have questions, feel free to ask, send a message. Don't hesitate. We are here for one another. And keep an eye at Kardec Radio because there's more. And tonight at 11 p.m., we're going to enter a new chapter in the Laws of Love. It's about the treatments for illnesses and how Spiritism can help it. It's a fascinating chapter. It's worthwhile being together there. We wish you many blessings, and until next time, thank you.